Guys, we're back, and it's time to see if there's going to be more mutton on the menu. Mineski did not look very strong in Game 1. A sloppy performance for them. They drop it. Game 2, we're about to jump into it. So, AUI, your thoughts? Are we going to have some lamb chops as our second course here, or are they going to bounce back? Can Mineski force a Game 3?
I feel like Mineski, even though they lost that game, they did play well enough to get the advantage early on. And I still have faith in them. I hope they put Jay in puck, basically.
In Mineski, AUI trust. You guys, you've got his faith. Now you've got to prove that you deserve it. So with that being said, Game 2 is going to be getting underway just a few moments from now. The teams should be ready. What do you think they need to do, AUI? Looking at sort of the way they played the last game, what were the key mistakes, or more importantly, what should they do differently coming into Game 2?
Really, I felt like most of their play was better than mith.trust. I liked their draft quite a bit more. I thought that the Morphling pick, like, they knew the aggressive trial was coming, and they picked the Morphling into it, who's one of the weakest laning carries right now after that gigantic nerf. I like their picks better. I like their early play better. I feel like they just like lost their calm. They got excited, like, "Whoa, we're winning!
We're close! We're close!
Yeah,
we got it, guys! Umosyan!" Oh crap!
Xian? Is that what you say when you're about to eat mutton?
It's the rough translation, as I understand, is basically kill all enemies or all enemies will fall. Oh. It's sort of your battle cry for a lot of the Pinoy players and fans. But in this case, yeah, it means all will become mutton chops, basically, is what we have coming for you. So, well, with that being said, we're going to head off to the casters. Purge, Blitz, what are you looking for in Game 2?
I just want to see a Game 3 personally. I think both teams are playing pretty equivalently. The early laning was really well played by Mineski, but then Myth did some great ganks and stayed in the game. Their counter push was fantastic as well. I don't know. I just want to see 3 games because I think these games are really fun to watch.
Yeah, actually both teams look really evenly matched. I gave the advantage to Mineski early. I thought they kind of squandered it a little bit. But Myth, I mean, SD and who was it? R5, they played fantastically as support. I mean, that Rubik was in perfect position for the most part. I mean, think about how many times he died while also warding and buying a second flying courier.
Yeah, man.
That's something
Big
that
investment.
we can't. That actually paid off. That won.
Did you really doubt it? I wasn't sure if you were serious, honestly.
I mean, no.
Like,
I mean, it was a great idea. Yeah.
You've heard about the double bottle crow?
Yeah.
It's like synonymous with Pinoy Dota.
It was the TI team that was doing it. Yeah. That's the funny thing.
I just thought it was funny.
That is a good point. It was the TI team. I'm sorry.
mith.trust is secretly Pinoy. That's
it's not every day I get to see 2 couriers just kind of flying around the map.
Yeah, delivering bottles and things, and it is really efficient. It costs money, but like we said, you spend 400 gold on a courier with flying courier. You don't have to buy a soul ring, and you don't have to get tranquil boots. You can just go straight into arcane boots. That's one item slot that you're going to be freed up. Darkseer actually does run out of item slots pretty fast if you go soul ring and tranquil boots and like all these other items. And then you get a mech, and then you get a wand, and so it is kind of nice to share the item slot. You can sell the bottle later for 300. It's not as big as of a gold investment, and then you always have 2 couriers. Which
I definitely saw the merits in it. I just thought it was funny, that's all.
Hey guys, let me ask you, was anybody having flashbacks to the International 2 with that Morphling? I mean, shut down all game long. What didn't really feel like the high impact hero he was. Game goes late, all of a sudden it's a gigantic water creature just descending on your base.
It didn't really feel like that to me, honestly.
No?
Well, think about the Morphlings at TI2. It seemed like they would start off in a tri-lane. They would get last hits, they would get kills, and all of a sudden you'd have like a 4-0 Morphling, and then bam, you get an EB, and then they'd walk around the map and one-shot people, and then they'd like, the game was over.
Right, the way he got there was totally different, but the end result
exactly.
It felt very similar to me.
Morphling.
You think we're going to see more Morphling this year? I know you think he's still viable in some cases.
Yeah, I didn't really like him pick there. I mean, he's really good in like at dealing with split push specifically, and when you can pick a carry that's like hard to kill, then he's really not that bad.
Right.
So I think we will see more Morphling. I think he'll also get a small buff before TI3 comes around.
I hope he does. Guys, well, with that being said, Game 1 in the books. It's mith.trust leading the best of 3, 1-0. Game 2 is now underway. We're going to hop over to the game. Take it away, Purge and Blitz.
All right, guys, and once again, this is Game 2 between Team Mineski and mith.trust. The loser of this best of 3 does get eliminated from the TI3 qualifiers. So this is an absolute do-or-die game, and I'm pretty excited to see what happens.
Yep, as am I. Fantastic game we saw in Game 1. Hard fought to the bitter end.
Yeah, it really was. I didn't think that was going to happen. I was like, okay, I'm just going to slow push this, maybe eventually take a Rax or push in for a tower. Eventually things will work out, but it was just over so fast. And even with some of their decision making, there was a lot of backdoor attempts. They just wanted to get the third Rex. I could just imagine like their frustration as that entire game went on. They just slowly said, okay, just take a Rex, and must have been felt like fighting uphill, and it must have been really disappointing when they lost that.
Yeah, I mean, at 12 minutes, the Morph had something like 30 CS. I mean, don't quote me on that,
Yeah,
but
he was really
it
low.
was really that low.
It was a rough tri lane. He had a tough time up there. Against the Chaos Knight, his mana costs were really high. He doesn't have a whole lot of combos. Really hard to get kills. But this game, we actually see mith.trust banning out a TA first. Now, Mineski did play the hero in the previous game. Who did she lane against again? A Dragon Knight, I believe?
Dragon Knight, yes.
Do you really feel like the TA deserves a first-round ban? This seems really weird to me. Maybe it's a strategy. Maybe they're trying to ban out like the tier 2 heroes and let all the tier 1s through, and then it really dices up the picks, or what? What do you think?
I mean, I think they just thought that TA was really annoying to play against. She did quite well in that game. I mean, she put out so much damage. If they do decide picking a lineup like that, I don't think they want to face her again. I don't think it's a drafting choice in the sense that they want to let heroes through as much as it's a respect ban.
All right, well, Shadow Demon's still making it into the tier 1. Batrider's in the pool. We got Wisp in the pool. We got Magnus in the pool. So possibly going to see a Batrider this game. Not a hero that's been making it through a lot. I wouldn't be too surprised if he's the most banned. I don't know. I haven't seen that many Batriders so far for the Eastern qualifiers. Even less Lone Druids. I'd also like to point out that, again, that was a comeback game for the Compendiums. I believe it was a 10k advantage that you have to come back from, and they skirt alongside that quite a bit. So that was pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, Mineski picked up quite a big lead in that game, but Myth actually able to just claw back, and they had such a good defensive lineup I'd like to talk about. I mean, Sand King, it's kind of difficult to get an offensive epicenter off just because most of the time they're spread, right? And you have
Offensive
to blink
or
in.
defensive?
Offensive.
Okay.
But if you play defensively and you can wait in your base where there are more hiding spots, and it's difficult to penetrate, right? And you're actually just kind of funneling yourself into one area, one choke point, then it's really easy for that Sand King to get his ultimate off. So that actually kind of played well into Myth's hands. Also, picking up that Blink Dagger so quickly.
Yeah, he really did get that fast. If those supports didn't do so well, if those kills would have gone on maybe the carries instead, I honestly don't know if they could have defended that. I mean, having an EB up, if they would have had a faster EB and a slower Blink Dagger on Sand King, they might have just lost that game. So it was really fortunate that the supports did so well. Anyways, Batrider was the first pick for mith.trust here, so they're going to have to deal with Napalm and BKB ganks, basically. Doesn't matter if you're Magic Immune or not, Batrider's going to be there and he is going to disable you.
A fantastic first pick. Mineski going right back to that Gyrocopter, not afraid to pick it up at all, and they're actually going to take the Rubik themselves this game, and I think that's actually the smart decision. He caused them so much issues, and I think that's just as much of a pick, you know, to deny Myth. I mean, SD played that hero phenomenally last game.
How many cooldowns did he steal? It seemed like every single team
lot.
fight. And that's not a spell that most people focus on. You always see people gunning for RPs and things like that, but even cooldown is a fairly respectable ability, honestly. It does quite a bit of damage. At level 1 it was like 350 and it scales up okay, and the slow is just fantastic, and it goes through Magic Immune. Great counter to Chaos Knight, and it was really smart of him to pick that up a lot.
Yes, definitely. And actually Myth now, the great thing about Batrider picking it up first, as well as a hero like Magnus or Lone Druid, is that it gives your lanes a lot of flexibility. One of the things that you want to look for in Dota when you're picking is where the other team is going to lane and try to counterpick that lane out. And so picking a hero like Batrider keeps the team on edge, right? Because you don't actually know where they're going to put it. I mean, LGD in against IG, they actually ran at one short lane farm, and Brax picked up something like a 4-minute blink. So
wow,
it's not something you see every day, but it does give you a lot of flexibility in the sense that Batrider can do it all. You can jungle, you can go mid, you can go long lane, a lot of options.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Dragon Knight again is being picked up by mith.trust, so they really like this hero. They don't have to worry about being countered as hard. Maybe they were indeed planning to pick Dragon Knight again, and this is why they banned the TA, because they knew they would first pick a Batrider. Mineski was probably not going to snag the Dragon Knight, so they basically got a guaranteed Dragon Knight pick. They can go for the same strat, and they can actually maybe even solo kill somebody. They have a much better shot against a non-TA hero. Even a hero like Queen of Pain, with a gank, has a little bit more flexibility. You can actually kill her with a little bit extra help.
Yeah, and that Batrider, I mean, with the Dragon Knight being picked up, I haven't seen him played in the short lane farm role in quite some time, and I don't actually think he does too much in the offensive tri-lane, so most likely going to be seeing that hero mid. That means the Batrider will be either relegated to the jungle or the off lane, but with the lineup we see with the Visage, most likely to the off lane or in the short lane, and, you know, Saj does such a good job in offensive tri-laning, so we might just see that again. I mean, how do you beat that hero, right? He's quite tanky.
Yeah,
he turns around ganks so easily, and he sets up so well with Grave Shell.
Yeah, if you have the mana pool to afford it, you can throw Soul Assumption every 4 seconds. It's about 400 magic damage. Even Grave Chill, the attack speed reduction on that is really good against carries. Can really reduce the flat cannon damage output. But it's going to be a Clock, and Clock does counter Visage a bit, because if you can initiate on him, and he doesn't have a Force Staff, he's going to have a bad time. Battery Assault, Rockets even, and Cogs are going to be a problem. Dragonite's not going to have to worry as much about the Cogs if he has his ulti, but he is a little bit low on mana, and he definitely needs mana in team fights. So I think that guy is going to have to be really careful around the Clockwork, because if he gets his mana drained, and all he has is maybe a bottle and a wand, he's going to be hurting for mana, and that's going to drastically impact team fights.
Yeah, doesn't Rattlesnake actually pick Clockwork first quite often? That's a hero that I've seen them pick up really early off the bat, and I think in the Eastern scene we actually see him picked in the early stages quite often. I mean, that's another hero that can do it all, and his cogs just create great space. I mean, you can just create like a battleground where they can't cross. They just keep running into it and getting zapped.
Yeah, it has a lot of tactical implications. It counters a lot of heroes like Lifestealer, who are very popular right now. I mean, it's so good against any melee hero, basically, and that covers such a huge percentage of all the heroes in Dota. It just has a lot of utility. Mana Drain is always going to be useful, especially in the early game when people are a little bit limited. So, yeah, Clockwork can fit into a lot of places. We even see him played as support sometimes, similar to how we were talking about Batrider. He can't jungle, unfortunately. Can't quite do it all. At least probably not effectively, unless I would maybe max Battery Assault. I don't know, farm small camp. It's probably not good. It's not good compared to Batrider. Batrider is actually a very good jungler. But beside jungling, yeah, he can go anywhere, just about.
Yeah, I'd actually like to see that Bat in the short lane pick up a really quick Blink Dagger. I think with the lineup right now that they have, him in the long lane would be a little wasted. And they're actually going to ban out the Puck mid, which is actually a pretty good ban. I mean, because the Dragon Knight, you can just phase shift the Breathe Fire every time, right?
You should be able to dodge it, yeah. But I'm just, let's just take a moment and feel bad for AOI 2000. This is what he wanted to see. The J Puck, it's not going to happen.
Nope.
Mineski could get eliminated here, and we won't see any more J Puck. It could just happen.
Yeah, and
No pop either.
He was actually talking about that in the car ride too. He's like, I really want to see that Puck again.
It's not going to happen. It's over.
He was gushing over it, but
unless they win here. Unless they win here. They could win here. Wow, even a Morphling ban. Can we just give a round of applause for Morphling for making it back a little bit? Like, he's trying really hard to make it as a hero, and I don't know why I'm saying this. I hated his guts as of TI2. I'm actually okay with him not being played still.
No, but I think it's a similar problem to what Mineski had last time. Not a whole lot of disables on their lineup, right? I mean, not any sort of lockdown.
That's true. He can get out of cogs easy.
Yeah, and so I think Morphling is more a band that they're like, oh, you're actually willing to pick Morphling? Well then, we'll ban it because we're actually not going to pick a whole lot of hard stuns. So, but I think the Clockwork ban or pickup here is really good just because they finally have a way of engaging a fight, whereas they didn't really last game. The cogs kind of force a fight, essentially.
Yeah, you trap one of their supports, try to kill him. Best Rescue team backs him up. Gyrocopter's going to be able to call down on that so easily. Weaver's going to get banned by Mith.trust, so a little bit of a escapable possible Tricore hero there. And Nyx Assassin also banned by Mineski. The Mana Drain is, and the stun. It's just such a great hero. It's going to be a Sand King again. They're going similar heroes. They like Sand King for Burrow Strike. The multiple stun on enemy heroes is pretty easy to line up if you're a talented player. And Epicenter can always swing stuff. Now, on the bright side, this time Mineski's got a Rubik. No, they did not have a Rubik last time. So if Rubik does get some levels into him, he's going to have at least Null Field, which will dampen a lot of the magic damage. And that was actually when Rubik started seeing a lot of play as a support, was to counter Sand King in some ways. They're like, okay, well, just get some early levels of Null Field, and then all of a sudden your Epi doesn't really hit for much. So that's going to reduce that AoE teamfight damage from Myth a bit.
Yeah, and on top of that, the Clockwork can actually scout out things with the Rocket this time.
That's true.
Maybe stop the Blink. If he can at least do that once, it was a worthwhile pick. And on top of that, I think the Clock this game should pick up a mech. I mean, they picked up Leshrac and Rubik. Not exactly the best at picking up items like mechs. They're both really squishy.
Yep.
And I think last game, Mineski would have really benefited from an earlier mech. I mean, the Wisp got it a little later than I would have liked, meaning the fights were just really difficult. I mean, imagine if they had a mech to fight at top. Remember where the Chaos Knight had a buyback? I don't think they would have lost to anybody.
Especially when you're tethered to somebody, it makes a big difference. It takes a while for a Wisp support to farm it. He actually got it, I think, at a pretty reasonable time, but
definitely.
It's nothing like a safe lane farmer mech or anything like that. So.
Or even a long lane that actually gets some dedicated farm.
Yeah, sometimes it's tough for Clockwork to pick that up, especially if he's going to be up against a tri-lane, but it's definitely possible. So last pick for Mith.trust now. They've only got 30 seconds on the clock here. They are looking for a possible carry, I guess. Sand King, Visage, or Range here would be preferred since they're a little bit lacking on Disable, but they could go melee, and they will go for an Anti-Mage. So Batrider off lane, Visage, Sand King, Anti-Mage on the safe lane. I don't think they're going to go aggressive here. I don't know if Mineski wants to go aggressive. I think they could if they want to with Gyrocopter, Rubik, Leshrac, but might be a little scary. They might just play it safe.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to offensive tri-lane against a lineup like that and it fails, you're essentially conceding a lot of the game right there.
Yeah.
I mean, when you offensive tri-lane, what you're essentially trying to do is win 3 lanes, right? But because if your offensive tri-lane does well, then you can actually gank from mid as well. And if you pick some sort of like really good safe lane farmer, then you'll do quite well as well. But
wow, I think they are going aggressive tri-lane now. They've picked another carry. This possibly means Gyrocopter versus Batrider. Gyrocopter, pretty good Batrider counter because he can choose Rocket Barrage if he gets dived. So Batrider is going to probably go for more CS Flame Break early. Alchemist has a great stun. Alchemist, Rubik, Leshrac. That is so much chance stun. It doesn't matter what hero you are, you will die. That's 3 stuns. I think they're going to go aggressive. They're going to put Clock mid versus Dragonite or Gyrocopter mid, and then throw somebody off versus Batrider. But I'm guessing it'll be Gyrocopter. Is that? Do you think my
that's a reasonable
predictions
assumption.
are okay?
And Gyro
Okay.
actually does really well against Bat. What makes Bat really scary is that once you sticky a bunch of creeps and you right-click them, you do so much damage and you push the wave really quickly because the enemy hero that you're soloing against actually can't deny, right? Because the turn radius is so awful. So what that means is you get 2 or 3 creeps and then you just dive, right? But what Gyro does really well with Flak is he prevents you from being able to dive with creeps behind you.
And it's not just about the diving creeps, it's also about keeping his HP at lower than full. If you just use Flak Cannon, you can right-click a creep, and then Batrider's at 80%, and he's a little bit less confident to go dive in under the tower. That's 2 tower hits or so. So
Yeah. Plus Rocket Barrage is castable from anywhere.
yep, you don't have to worry about your turn radius. You just press the button and you walk away, and you should be able to do some good damage. So let's go over the players quick. For Myth, they are currently up 1 game. We've got R5 playing Sand King. Lakels is playing, or Lakel's playing the Anti-Mage. SD is on the Visage this game. We've got Abba playing the Dragonite, and the last player is going to be TNK playing the Batrider.
Yeah, and for Mineski, we have Oa playing that Rubik. He was actually the Visage last game. Jay going to be playing that Clockwork. Fat Dog
So that's so loud. I was like, whoa.
playing the Leshrac. I mean,
going
it's in all caps, so I have to say it like that.
No, you have to be like, Fat Dog. Come on.
Fat Dog is going to be playing that
Fat dog.
Leshrac. Joven's going to be picking up that Gyrocopter, and Yanni's going to be playing that Alchemist. I'm actually just...
Do you want to just yell Fat Dog for the whole cast? I
But
mean,
you can't just say... Because we both sound super white, so we can't really get away with that.
Yeah, alright. Your logic. Alright, so Jay most likely going to go mid. Actually, he has a Stout Shield and spent all of his money. So this may be a little different, but Jay does normally play mid for them. So I'm a little curious to see what he does with this. I guess he's not as concerned about having mana from a possible fast bottle. Instead, he's planning to trade hits or something. I don't know. We'll see. But Yanni going Stout Shield as well. A lot of regen on him. Gyrocopter, ooh, they're going to smoke. They went halfway. Wow, this is hilarious. The teams are actually going complete opposite directions. So we will not see an engagement in the early game here. And that's costing them a smoke. But the reason they're doing this is because they have so many stuns. If they catch anybody in telekinesis, they will die. You're not going to get away from Unstable, Concoction, and a Splitter. So
Yep. And let's actually talk about the keys of winning right here. For Mineski, it's shut down the Anti-Mage. Don't let him get a lot of farm. Get good initiations off of the Clockwork. And hopefully pick up some farm on the Alchemist and Gyro. Just because they're going to be able to farm faster than Myth's heroes are. And alternatively, Myth just needs to get good Sand King initiations off, good stuns, protect the Anti-Mage, and hopefully be able to fight 4v5 without the Anti-Mage and have him split push to the point where he gets too big and then they can't engage.
And I also feel like Mineski can push a lot earlier than Myth can. If they can hit a timing before Sand King gets Blink Dagger and Anti-Mage gets his Manta, and they can be pretty strong there, I feel like it's going to be hard for them to get stopped and pushes. The only thing that Myth is almost going to have guaranteed is a Blink Dagger on Batrider at a reasonable time. So I feel like if Mineski can just keep the Batrider with a Blink and stop him from initiating effectively with a Clockwork Hook or something, and the Sand King doesn't have a Blink and the Anti-Mage doesn't have a Manta, they could definitely take some early Rexes or Towers. I feel like they have a much better early game team.
Yeah, and actually, if you notice Lakel's build, he's got a ton of stuff stacked on him. He's got a Ring of Protection, a Stout Shield, 2 Tangles, a Salve,
Wow.
and an Ironwood Branch. So I think the idea here is that Anti-Mage will solo against the Clockwork, and he'll beat him too, just because of the mana break is so efficient. And Clockwork actually doesn't CS as well as the other does, and that means it frees up the other 2 supports to kind of roam in between top and mid, and that actually means quite a lot.
I wonder if the Sand King did this on purpose. I think he went within sentry range of the gyrocopter, but it would have been kind of a tough kill here. They're going to back off, actually looking for support heroes now, but their sentry's down. They will be able to spot out the Sand King. And his Burrow Strike is such short range. Him getting disabled is unlikely here.
Yeah, and actually a lot of slows coming out. Sticky just kind of keeping Yanni back. And the Bat Rider just kind of zoning him out, and that's exactly what Bat Rider does so well. Just kind of zones people out. And there's actually 2 5-stacks on the Leshrac and the Alchemist, and this is actually getting quite scary.
He doesn't actually have Firefly, though. He's just going to hit for about 90 damage in the early game here. But it's going to run out eventually, and they'll be just okay. So now it's a Tri-Lane versus Tri-Lane. It's actually a Bat Rider Sand King Visage Tri-Lane. This puts Alchemist... Where's Alchemist? On Mineski's team. He's... Okay, sorry, he is top, excuse me. Alchemist sitting top as well, so... They still have the triple stuns, but the defensive maneuvers that they can use, especially with Flame Break, is actually pretty okay for mith.trust here.
Yeah, and actually, the key right now is for Mineski not to die in this tri-lane, because if they die or give up any sort of ground, then what's going to happen is Myth is just going to be able to rotate on mid freely.
That looks both... It's pretty scary for actually both of them. Dragon Knight's slightly more tanky, but... yeah, Gyrocopter can also die.
Yeah, and just a kind of passive farming war. The Dragon Knight has a really quick bottle here. Gonna just force out the wave, push it out by spamming Breathe Fire, and then this should allow him to pick up a rune without actually losing any XP.
How do you feel about the decision to put Clockwork versus the Anti-Mage? This is notoriously a bad matchup for Clock, actually, because you can drain any melee hero, basically, you can drain his mana really rapidly. And once you do, Anti-Mage has pretty much free reign of over the lane. I mean, he can't do as much damage right-clicking the enemy hero, but they both got Stout Shields, so trading effectively is just never going to be in Clockwork's favor.
Yeah, the issue is offensive tri-laning is a little bit out of the question, and...
Ooh, they're going in on top. Sand King's going to get caught. Flame Break buys him a second. The lightning goes through. 19 HP. He's going to stay alive. 2 seconds. There's the Burrow Strike. Alchemist in trouble with Soul Assumption. Not able to get the kill. Alchemist will fall, however. Stun misses from Leshrac, and that is going to be it for Mineski. They've got to get out of here. So, is that worth it? First blood for a Sand King in exchange for the enemy for the hard carry?
I mean, it kind of is. The issue is that the Alchemist will actually have a free lane to farm eventually. So if he actually loses out early, he'll have a free lane to farm and pick up levels and stuff like that, because they'll just give him dedicated farm. Whereas the Sand King, if he dies like that, I mean, how is he going to pick up levels? He really needs that XP for kills.
Yeah, that's really true. He has gotten level 2 at least from something, probably just sapping EXP in lane. But on the bright side, Rubik's going to be able to grab boots. He actually does not. He goes for a Flying Courier, a Magic Stick, and a TP Scroll. And this is actually really, really early support TP possibilities. If Anti-Mage ends up diving on the Clockwork on the bot lane, this could be a kill with a Telekinesis. He doesn't have that much tank on the early game. He's going to blink for it again. Going to be looking to drain mana. He really wants to drop this Cog so he doesn't get it burned naturally. But Kyles is doing a great job of staying really close. You have to cast it. And yeah, his mana is pretty much out already. But if he can drain the Anti-Mage's mana, it's going to be huge. He's almost doing it. It's a little game of cat and mouse here, as Clockwork always looks to drain mana with Cogs. But any good player is going to know that that's coming, and he misses it.
Yeah, and actually, as long as Myth kind of breaks even on their offensive tri-lane, they'll be coming out ahead, just because an Anti-Mage's farm is worth a lot more than the Clockwork's, right? And he's going to have an easier time doing it against the Clockwork. So just kind of a poor matchup, indeed, for Myth. They actually really have to... just kind of break even at this top lane. So I think that kill at top was actually kind of okay for them, as long as they just kind of slow down the game and let their Anti-Mage kind of take over.
Anti-Mage is doing a nice job on the bot lane. 24 CS for him. Clockwork is actually at 11. So Jay's having some trouble. Even with an Invisor in here, still not able to get last hits. But he... Oh, great. Look at that mana drain. It's so good. 60 mana on Power Cogs. It does 120 mana drain on the Anti-Mage. And he's almost out. He's got 2 bottle charges left. And Anti-Mage is not going to get this mana back very easily. He's got HP regen with a Salve and a Tranquil Boots. But when he runs out, he's any other squishy hero.
Yeah, the only difference is... I mean, he has so much regen, and it's not too necessary that he has Blink, as long as he can equally keep Jay low in mana, and he's doing a good job of that as well, just kind of trading, you know, his regen just for being able to keep Jay out of the lane. Jay's actually reliant.
Top though, Acid Spray being used, more right clicks there. Will he escape?
Yeah, he's actually dead.
So they're picking up kills. This is great for them.
Yeah, and they actually need to. I mean, look at how much farm Alchemist has compared to the Anti-Mage.
It's he's a bit behind. 30 last hits. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, 30-5. But I mean, he does have Goblin or Grievel's Greed. I'm sorry, that's what it's called now. And he's picked up 2 levels of that, meaning he knows he's behind, and he recognizes that, so instead of going for a more kill-oriented build, he's actually just trying to close the gap in terms of farm.
And I'm not even that worried about Alchemist, for like you said, he's got Greevil's Greed #1, but #2, they've got a Gyro on the mid lane who's actually last hitting almost as well as the Anti-Mage. 30 last hits for him, he's level 6, he's honestly doing okay. There's a stun on the Gyrocopter, Creep Wave comes forward as well, so that's some pretty good damage output, but he's not going to be able to seal the deal here. His bottle is actually not on the way, I think it's back at the base. Yeah, double bottle on the courier. Where the courier's at, there's only one. What is this?
Does that upset you?
I'm so personally damaged by this. Sand King running for his life on the top of rune, possibly setting up a gank mid, but Gyro's going to grab an illusion rune bot. Really unfortunate for him that his bottle is not there. He could have gotten a full heal and an illusion rune. They're pinging on the top lane. Batrider's level 4 here. And there are boots on the Alchemist as well. Only one level of Unstable Concoction Stone. He is still maxing out Greevil's Greed, so their kill potential is a little lower on top here, but his farm will hopefully pay off because of it.
Yeah, and Joven actually picks up his bottle, so I think he's going to feel a little more safe here, but he's actually pushing out quite far, and the range stun hits him, and Sand King's going to come from behind.
Level 2, he's throwing the ulti. He doesn't realize Sand King's there, and the burst is going to be enough. Could have possibly gotten the Dragon Knight otherwise. Yeah, they actually split it. Blade Bolt comes through, doesn't do enough, only level 1. And Rubik's support TP, not quite enough to pay off there. But if it wasn't for the Sand King showing up and splitting the Rocket Barrage, that definitely could have been a kill for the Gyrocopter.
Yeah, I mean, the Gyro felt safe just because his bottle was received there, and that's actually what he was waiting on, and the Sand King was so patient on that, and just great positioning. He realizes top is a little scary, just because the lane is pushed out to their own lane, so who are they going to kill, right? They're actually just going to sit there, so he actually does something proactive with his time.
So mith.trust now. Just 2-man top, they're waiting on the Sand King to get back to the heal. He actually doesn't have a TP scroll, so it's going to be a while until he can actually be active on the map. If we take a look at the hero levels at the moment, Dragon Knight's in the lead at level 8, Anti-Mage seen at level 7. Gyrocopter's still doing okay though. Lucels has about 120 mana left, and it's going to be a bit till Jay can get his bottle back into his lane, because he really does want to get another power cog off on the Anti-Mage, but he hasn't yet been able to drain Lucels to 0, just because of Lucels' good positioning. It really is pretty difficult to make sure you don't get cogged. You have to be very careful.
Yeah, Lakel's actually just picking up a lot of farm. I mean, the Clockwork isn't going to be able to keep up in farm, so what he needs to do, Kevin, is just kind of go around the map, create a lot of space for the rest of his teammates, and then hopefully they find a spot where, as a group, they're strong enough that they can actually just force fights, where the Anti-Mage isn't strong enough to come. The worst thing that can happen for a team like Myth right now is if the Anti-Mage doesn't get a lot of farm, and he doesn't have that movement. You know, we saw in Dreams Game 1 against LGD where Anti-Mage was able to just kind of split push and force a lot of pressure. I mean, if he can do that, this should be a pretty tidy game for Myth.
And he's completely on track for that, honestly. With this many last hits, 50 at the 8-minute mark, that is excellent last hitting for him. Actually, the top farmers, the top 4 are actually all on the Radiant team. Myth, Myth. So Myth is looking pretty good at the moment, but Mineski's got a really tough game ahead of them here, especially with how things are going so far.
Yeah, and Batrider's actually about to pick up a Blink Dagger, and from there on, that's the let's 4v5 or just try to pick off free kills here and there and let our Anti-Mage farm time. And if the Clockwork comes to the fights and they break even, then they're actually going to come out slightly ahead with the Anti-Mage consistently farming.
Clockwork picking up level 7 now. He actually doesn't even have Battery Assault yet. Maxing out the rockets, considering maybe ganking another place. If he goes full mana, grabs his bottle, and then goes to gank a side lane. This could be pretty huge. We've got some items being transferred. A Bracer on somebody. Gyrocopters, those maybe more other heroes. There's some stun and some chain nukes actually puts the supports a bit low.
Oh, Gyro actually TP's top. They're looking for this fight. Abba's actually going to go in, but
Rocket Barrage is so good against Dragon Knight. There's a call down, but it's going to miss everybody actually. Slightly misused there, and Joven now healing back up. Another stun lands. Telekinesis Flame Break pushes them apart a bit. Will they be able to grab anybody? No, Rubik's going to die first. There was another stun. Great Burrow Strike's going to be able to clean up the Gyrocopter quite effectively. And another Soul Assumption in a second here is going to do enough damage, maybe. No, mith.trust. That was a great team fight from them. They definitely outplayed that one. I thought Dragon Knight was actually in some trouble there.
5 HP, actually 4 on SD.
All right, let's follow him. This could be a kill. Clockwork is waiting for. He's got mana in 3 seconds. Where will the Visage juke to?
Is he going to go? Yeah, he's going to go for it.
Comes the
Oh,
rocket.
and it's too high.
Oh, yeah.
He's actually not going to go.
Look at this. He thought that the Visage was being smart. Not a fact.
No,
SD was
just
going
runs straight down.
He was like, I'm going home. Right-click the base. I'm going to the bathroom.
That's so metagame.
Yeah,
because
man.
He's like, well, there's no way he would just run straight back,
he's
right?
Gonna, he's assume I'm smart. Therefore, I'll run straight. And he doesn't get the kill. Oh, here comes the second rocket. Oh, he's fine.
Yeah. Actually, during that entire time, like I said, Lakel's is just farming away, and the clock, they committed a lot to top, and actually, they didn't actually get anything out of that. So again, Myth, they actually won the fight, and the Anti-Mage got another 2 minutes of free farm.
Yeah, 66 last hits is insane at the moment, so mith.trust is looking really strong. Mineski has to pull some stuff together. They could get eliminated by this game. If this is a 2-0 for Myth, their chances at the International 3 are going to be over. Such an important game. More mana drain. Double mana drain on Dragonite. That cost him a lot for that one catapult asset. But he's got a bottle. That's fine. He's actually tread switching. Happy to see that.
Yeah, and actually, I like Lakel's decision to pick up the purse fully. A lot of people get the Claymore, but I think he's assuming that if the Clockwork comes down to contest him again, it'll be quite good. And actually, at top, they're going to go on Yanni.
Flaming Lasso's going to run out here. His ulti's on cooldown for 10 seconds. Flame Break as well. Another nuke, and he's going to spy out, at least buy some things. Magic Wand for him. And that's his second death, actually. 2 deaths, 2 assists, 3 levels of Greevil's Greed. And his Greevil's Greed isn't even paying off that hard right now. I kind of wish he actually did max out Unstable Concoction. I mean, let's think about how that last team fight went. He was in that team fight. He surely threw his stun. And I bet that would have done a lot more damage if he actually put skill points into it. And it's not even like he's getting freeform here. So sure, he can catch up later, but, I mean, why not get kills?
Yeah, I think the reasoning is that I'm so far behind that if I level the Greevil's Greed, I'll be able to catch up. But I completely agree with your reasoning that leveling the stun would have been a lot more smart. Because if it had paid off for 1 or 2 kills, then, you know, he wouldn't have to be so reliant on getting CS. And he's being contested left and right, whereas the anti-mage is being given relative free farm. So I think going for that early game stun build would have been a lot more effective. And actually, as I was saying, I like Lakel's decision to pick up that Perseverance first, just because he assumes that the Clockwork's going to lane against him, and the Cogs are going to force him out with the mana burn, but this way he'll always have mana.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's very rare that an anti-mage actually needs the Void Stone anytime early. But this is one of the few cases against anybody that can mana burn him. It is slightly nice, and some even completely forego the Ring of Health as well. They just go straight Claymore Broadsword because it gives you more damage potential against your opponents, and you can push a little bit faster, things like that. But he opts for the Perseverance, like we said, good mana regen, so that even if the Clockwork ends up cogging him, it's not going to cause him too much harm.
Yeah, the issue with giving up a hero like Batrider, as we're seeing right now, is that he puts on so much pressure in the rest of the lanes, right? What's ended up happening right now is if Myth is devoting 3 heroes to top at all times for the most part, I mean, they're rotating right now, but if they just leave 3 heroes up there, and the Leshrac and the Rubik actually rotate down to gank the anti-mage, then what ends up happening is they just go on the Alchemist and blow him up. So how exactly are you... I mean, you need to leave 2 heroes to protect him up there, but if you do that, then the anti-mage gets free farm. So it's a, you know, damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah, and in the meantime, their mid lane is now getting ganked. The 2 supports here are just hiding on Alchemist, and now they're like, okay, well, they're just ganking our mid hero now. Gyro, not the most typical mid hero. He's not super evasive. He's died 3 times now. It was Mineski too greedy in their drafting? I mean, what do you think is the problem here? I mean, you just explained it perfectly. Anti-Mage is going to go get free farm. He's actually currently thinking about taking a tower. He can easily backdoor these creeps, or what's it called? Cutting the creeps. He's currently cutting the creeps, so, I mean, they just need to defend all 3 lanes. They need to put pressure on the Anti-Mage while defending both Gyro and Alchemist, and they can't really do that right now.
Yeah, I mean, to kill a hero like Anti-Mage, if you play... I mean, he's playing really scary right now.
Ooh, hook shot's going to land on him. Here comes the stun follow-up. It's going to whiff, though. Fat Dog missing it. Lightning's going to land, and he gets out. Needed to land that stun. Not able to do so. Even if they did, though, I don't know if they would have gotten the kill. It would have done an extra 200 magic damage, but he does have a level in Spell Shield, so it would have been tough, but he ends up surviving. He's going to be just fine.
Yeah, as I was saying, really scary because the Anti-Mage requires at least 2 heroes to kill. Preferably 3, but if you do that, then the Batrider, wherever he is, that's a free kill for him. So I just feel like giving up a Batrider and getting the heroes they got out of it, it wasn't a worthwhile trade for Mineski.
Ooh, they're going to try to grab him. They are going to find Yanni. Actually, he's not paying attention here. Dragonite throws the stun. Stun follow-up, and that is another dead Alchemist. Double bat drop. Level 11 Dragonite now, getting a lot of EXP. Things looking good. They should be able to wrap around and take this tower, especially with the Dragonite ulti. The damage over time is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, Myth just has so much initiation right now. I mean, the
Yeah.
Sand King has Arcane Boots. The Visage, if he chooses to go that route, is also like almost there. The Blink Dagger up on Batrider, a Drums and an Ogre Club, and Treads on the Dragon Knight. And they're going to pick up a tower, so he's going to get another 1k on top of that. And now Anti-Mage's Battle Fury, and he's just going to split push you. So what do you do at this point? I mean, I think they have to get some sort of smoke gank going. And they have to kill that Anti-Mage and maybe establish some presence on the map right now.
But again, Anti-Mage is not an easy hero to kill. And Alchemist's stun is not leveled up, so him helping out is not going to be that helpful. They already tried a little bit of gank on him, but they needed to land the Leshrac stun on that whiff. Gyrocopter is going to be virtually no help. If he had a Homing Missile is actually decent against Anti-Mage because it will follow him despite where he blinks. But stacking their stuns just doesn't seem possible, and they've got outlaned here. So, I mean, maybe they went too greedy with their picks here. They have way too many carries, in my opinion. Like you said, they can't put pressure on the heroes that they need to.
Yeah, a setup like this just kind of requires you to farm, but Myth has done a better job of their whole kind of double or dual core setup with a lot of support and initiation to back it up. And a hero like Anti-Mage is actually the perfect pick here. I really like that Myth is willing to go that mobile carry route and force a lot of heroes to get to kill their carry at all times. And it just makes it so that it opens up the rest of the map for mith.trust.
They don't even feel safe going into their jungle right now. They do have observer wards up on the high ground. This one's a little bit more aggressive, not useful anymore since the tower died, but they know that the enemy team could be at any of these camps just waiting for a gank.
Oh, this is so smart. Do you actually see TNK? They've represented pressure at top so many times that they just assume that's where the action's going to be. So they realize, they're like, oh, well, the anti-mage is going to be left alone here. So why don't we just send one hero? And actually, Jay, if he's not careful, he's just going to get picked up right now.
He's
taking too much damage.
There it comes in. There's the Flaming Lasso, and that looks like a dead Clockwork. His mana is gone. There's the ulti and a Flame Break as well. Picks up the kill. Gyrocopter TPing in. He had the invis. There's a lift on the Anti-Mage. Is that the right target? The stun goes down. Rocket Barrage and the cooldown. They are actually able to kill the Anti-Mage, surprisingly. Rocket Barrage, level 4. Stun follow-ups. A lot of nuke damage despite one level of Spell Shield. He absolutely blew up there. But didn't even have a chance to drop his Magic Stick because he was chain stunned all the way through that.
Yeah, I actually really like Myth's attempt at doing that, right? I mean, a lot of misdirection, and then they were able to swing a kill for the anti-mage. But at the same time, I mean, Mineski, they're losing more and more map control. Giving up the mid tower for a kill like that, I don't know if it was necessarily worth it. They kill the anti-mage, yes, but it doesn't stop any of the pressure. They didn't get any towers out of it either.
Ooh, and Sand King finishes his Blink Dagger at 17 minutes in. He's only level 8, so it's a level 1 epicenter, but there's a lot of squishy heroes on Mineski that could easily solo die to this. 644 HP Rubik, 625 HP Leshrac. This is not a good situation to be in. When your enemy support hero already has a Blink, they are going to be so vulnerable.
It just means that Mineski now, they can't run away. There's 2 Blink Daggers now on Myth, with Sticky Napalm and that stun.
And an
they'll close the distance so quickly, yeah. They actually have too much initiation, a lot of options to kite. I mean, this just feels like a simple out draft, pure and clean cut.
It's going to be tough for Mineski to fight back from this. They could get eliminated. One loss here and it's all over. On the bright side, Gyrocopter's farming okay despite his 3 deaths. So there is a chance. Oh man, the net worth is just not even close on these heroes though. Gyrocopter has half the money that Anti-Mage does already. Dragon Knight is also at a similar level, almost half. 10,000 gold advantage for mith.trust, and it's only 18 minutes into this game. 10k EXP advantage. I mean, this is the perfect example. They're sitting so far back, all the pressure has been applied. They know the important heroes have their good items up, and they can't even farm their own jungle. They don't even feel comfortable. And when you get put into this kind of a weird map pressure situation, it's so tough to come back. They might be able to grab Dragon. He actually has a haste though. There's a hook shot in. But yeah, great cogs. That's going to set things up nicely. Call down as well. I'm sure he actually does pop the haste, but it doesn't matter. Magic damage and some chain stunning. They grab a kill. They needed that big time. 366 gold on the Gyrocopter. That's going to lose some from the Dragon Knight, and that's going to level up their gold game by a bit.
Smoke ganks right now, best thing they can do. Represent some sort of aggression. If you just sit back and farm, you're going to get picked off by 2 Blink Daggers. So I think they really need to show themselves on the map. They actually need to like represent presence. If they just get into this passive farming where they are going to lose, and they are going to pick up the gyro mid, gets dragged down, and great double stun.
Oh, double burrow strike, so good. Gyrocopter will get picked off. We'll see a burrow strike being stolen by Razor. He's going to try to grab the kill. He does grab the Sand King actually, getting as much gold as possible. How is this guy 3-1-2? His team is getting absolutely destroyed, and he's barely died here.
Johnny's going to stun himself.
Run!
And actually, that's only a level 1
It's okay, it's
stun.
only level 1. This is why he did it. He's
yeah,
like,
exactly.
I'm just going to stun myself, so no problem here. He's actually maxing out Acid Spray next. I kind of like this decision because there is a lot of armor working on mith.trust's team, and also Anti-Mage is going to be a pain to get more minus armor on top of that will be very useful.
Yeah, and actually, I mean, we saw what a gold advantage meant last game from Mineski, right? As long as Mineski can engage fights really intelligently, they can still do this. I mean, Gyro is the best ultimate, well, we're super far behind, I'll get a rapier hero.
Yeah.
So if he can get any sort of traction and just get some farm, then maybe they can turn things around. Also, Myth is playing wildly aggressively. If Mineski can just kind of set up what Myth did to them last game where they bait out a hero and then they just counter gank, then we can still see a comeback. Easily.
Yeah, we definitely could. And again, they have so many carries. It's only a matter of time, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Unless they keep snowball. It's an anti-mage, man. I just don't know. Mana's gonna be gone. Actually, that's a blink on Rubik. He's gonna be able to blink forward. Telekinesis first. It actually stacks their stuns a little bit. The magic damage just does so little to him. But another blink forward. Rubik doesn't want to give up just yet. They can blink easily. Oh, the epicenter. Oh, they're turning around. Leshrac is so low, but actually spent a little bit too much time away from him. He's not gonna be able to catch him. We see a pause from Rubik. Is this, yeah, it is Clockwork. Do you see him in position there? He could have cogged Sand King, not able to do so, and this is going to cause him some problems. He's going to have to skill shot his hook shot now. That's the only way they're going to get a kill, and it might be on Anti-Mage, probably not. It's most likely you're going to have to go on the Sand King. But
Yeah.
if it wasn't for that disconnect there, they would have a guaranteed kill in this SK, I believe.
yeah. What a shame, too. I mean, they need breaks like this,
Yeah.
right? And everything just seems to kind of be falling apart for them. Is this legit Palace? Should we ask? Ben! Ben! Should they pause here? I'm just making fun of Ben.
So he's so off camera right now.
Yeah, I don't even... He can hear me, though.
He might be, I don't know, not even
Okay,
awake.
so Jay's
It's
actually going to
possible.
come back into this game.
We've got TP's coming from Dragon Knight for the team fight. He's got almost BKB. He doesn't have it, though, but his early game potential right now is really sick. Good attack speed, pretty good damage, and having a nuke as well as a breathe fire are really fantastic. So,
Oh, is he passed out?
Alchemist is completely out of mana, by the way. He has no mana here, so no stun, no more acid spray.
You know, we bring Merlini here. The only reason to bring him here, Merlini police, and then he sleeps on the ground.
Oh, okay, and they're going to pick him off.
Okay, he dies anyways, really easily. We definitely overtalked that hook shot.
He's like...
Super dead. Blink
Oh, they're
back
actually
in.
going to come in and
Wow.
commit to this fight, though.
Visage gets caught. Oh, that was a huge anti-mage ulti. They cleaned up the Gyrocopter with a great soul assumption. Visage really showing why he's a strong hero. Even though he gets initiated on, he can still dish out the damage. A slow on Jay as well. And Jay's going to get cleaned up. Flame break. And a great fight from mith.trust there. Despite the Sand King getting blown up immediately, they still cleaned up 2 heroes. And a lot of that was actually the anti-mage ulti, doing damage to 2.
Yeah, there's a Shadow Blade now on Yanni though at a reasonable time considering he started this game 0-3, but
Yeah.
this should allow him to farm a little easier. I mean, they're gonna need to start carrying Dust to gank him, which I mean isn't too difficult for them to do. Oh gosh, that anti-mage is 2.5k gold, and he's picked up a Vlad's as well, just meaning that he can stay on the map almost infinitely.
Yeah, he's got infinite mana. I'm sorry, infinite lifesteal, which means he can do these ancient jungles really early in the game. Normally these are slightly troublesome, but he can pretty easily farm every single jungle camp and the ancients. Maybe not all the ancients on top of that, but he's definitely going to be killing a lot of ancients this game now, as well as neutrals.
Yeah, and actually the Vlad's aura, the mana regen, is quite underrated on a hero like Anti-Mage, because if you want to efficiently farm, you want to blink around like crazy, and you run through mana quite quickly, but with the Battle Fury and the Vlad's, you can actually support that.
So he sells his Quelling Blade, 3,200 gold, very close to his Manta style now. When he grabs Manta, things get even scarier, because he can just blink on the squishy heroes. He's going to be aiming for Leshrac, and most likely Rubik, those 2 heroes. Rubik's going to be a tough kill now that he has Blink stolen, but the Leshrac especially, you can drain his mana, drop the ulti, he'll die quite fast. But on the bright side for him, he doesn't have to worry about being in mana, or in melee range, excuse me, because he has Stun Lightning. He doesn't have to worry about his Edict damage, but even still, very squishy hero at the moment.
Yeah, Clockwork's actually gotten quite decent farm. A lot more than I thought he did. And Joven's kind of getting farm now. He's going to pick up that quick BKB, which, I mean, he absolutely needs. Look at that team. Look how many stuns that has. The Sand King ult, the stun on Dragon Knight, the initiation. So he needs a BKB, but the issue is no damage. How do you kill a hero like Anti-Mage once he picks up an item like a Manta and a Heart?
Alchemist would need an Abyssal Blade. We did see it the other day.
Yeah, I mean it can
Anti-Mage
definitely
did get
happen.
outcarried.
I don't mean to say that this game is over at all. It's just going to be really difficult. We're going to need to see some near flawless fights from Myth to come back into this.
Yeah, we've got Dragon Knight looking to initiate. He has an Invis Rune. Who's he going to stun? It's going to be on top of the Clockwork. He goes in to prevent him. Oh, the BKB as well. This is a great setup for him. Burrow Strike lands on him, and that's going to be able to finish off Jay, I think. Yes, they do grab him last second. Even Anti-Mage hitting for 200 damage or so. Stun comes through. Gyro goes down. 4 dead heroes on Mineski, and Myth is steamrolling their way to a possible 2-0 victory. Are they going to be able to shut down Mineski? It's entirely possible after a fight like that. The Invis Rune really paying off, and they have a gem. They're going high ground. The middle Rex is threatened heavily.
Yeah, and here's where the strength of Dragon Knight comes in. That poison just doing work on that tower. And actually, Mineski has no glyph, so this is just going to be a free Rax.
Wow, Rax this early surely puts him in a bad spot. Anti-Mage is going to have Manta. He's got 3,800 gold. This is going to be so tough to come back from. Their gold was bad enough, and now they have to worry about the lane pushing and all of their creeps giving less EXP as well. I mean, that is just not a situation you want to be in this early.
Yeah, especially against an anti-mage. As we talked,
Yeah.
oh god, I think he's going to go for a Divine or an Abyssal. I really hope just
Wow.
for the crazy factor,
Seriously?
he decides to go Divine. That'd be really neat. Style points like crazy.
It would be. It might be an Abyssal Blade. I mean, they're so far ahead. Honestly, he doesn't necessarily need... They don't have a silence, for example. They're not going to have a silence
Yeah,
anytime
it doesn't
soon.
really matter
He
what item
doesn't
he gets.
technically need a Manta. It's like amazing on Anti-Mage, but he's so far ahead. If he gets an Abyssal, he can solo kill just about anybody.
Yeah, I think they just want that extra lockdown stun. Then they'll have 5 disables on their team, essentially.
Another good way to lock down people is murdering them. So, you know, it really could be a rapier. It's possible. I would be surprised, though. Sorry, that's his team. Sorry. Almost freaked out about nothing there. Thought he was going to blink into the enemy team.
And
Pulling a
quite an
jewel.
aggressive smoke. I really like this. They're quite far ahead, but they're still smoking, looking aggressive. And what this does is it just means that
they see
Mineski...
him.
Oh god, they're going to pick off Jay.
Oh, he's in trouble. There's no way he's going to live this one. Visage gets the kill. Are they just going to throw it at mid? No, they shouldn't. They should just take a double Rex. Push the wave up mid, or Roshan, that works as well. One dead hero, can he buy back?
I'm calling the
Probably
Divine,
not.
Kevin.
You think
Compendiums.
he's got to buy 3 Divines, though. There was the Reddit post about it, remember? It has to be 3 Divines in one game, which
Oh.
actually didn't even happen in the Western qualifier. So
Yeah, there's no way. Okay, he's got 2200
he does
gold.
have Aegis.
Farm those ancients.
They're gone.
Okay, just
Someone give this man
like
200
3
gold.
creeps. I see it coming.
I don't know, man. This is the Eastern qualifiers.
I know,
like,
but style points are so much more important than winning sometimes, Kevin.
is style points important in this game? I am not sure. He's going in actually 2. Oh, he almost ulted that. If there was no blink on Rubik, he would be dead.
Yeah. Definitely. Go get those ancients, buddy.
50 gold.
I believe in you.
Are you going to buy Divine? All right, he's got the money. I don't think it's a Divine.
You
I
don't?
think it's a Basher.
Kevin, that's because you live your life on the line, you know?
I definitely...
People like me and my friend Lakel's over here.
No, that's you living on the line.
We live
I do
life
not-
on the edge.
Dude, isn't that the same thing? What are you talking about? There's the grip going in. Actually, a great lift from Telekinesis. That's going to delay Gyrocopter from getting out of there, and a little bit wasting their abilities. Flame Break to try to push him down. Anti-Mage goes in, though, trying to finish him off. Gyrocopter does go down. Flaming Lasso by the Rubik, nicely done on the Dragon Head, but that is not necessarily what you want to do. Hook shot in as well, but I just don't think Clockwork can tank this up. Another stun on Anti-Mage. He does not have a Rapier. We're all really disappointed. He grabs a Yasha. What is this boring item build? Good game is called, and that is a 2-0. Myth is going to take it.
No!
Mineski is out. That is not a Sacred Relic with a Rapier. That is called a Basher with a Yasha. So, wow. That was way less close than the first game, but Myth, this is like the story of this team. Like, they have sloppy first games, and then they come through and really pull it together game 2. I mean, you could say a lot of that was honestly just Mineski being too greedy with their draft. They put Gyrocopter on the mid lane. They put Alchemist on the safe lane as well. With a tri-lane, and then they put a Clockwork against an Anti-Mage, which I don't think is a lane that anybody wants to play. Like, the only way Clockwork was going to win that was honestly if he kept mana draining the Anti-Mage, and he just couldn't do that because the Anti-Mage is playing too well. They were dancing that game constantly.
Yeah, plus that's a really unfavorable matchup for Clockwork, as I'm sure AUI would tell you, but on top of that, I mean, a fantastic showing. They had a great draft. They had a really good way of protecting the Anti-Mage's farm by pressuring top with that really quick Blink Dagger. And then on top of that, I mean, how did they engage a fight? That Sand King had, what, a 16-minute Blink Dagger? And
As
plus,
a support.
Yeah, and something else I want to talk about, especially with Kurt, is the mentality of having a game almost essentially won and then having to play another one. It's so heartbreaking, you know, because you're like, wow, we should have really had that. I'm sure that's how Dreams felt against LGD, remember?
Yeah.
The game they had almost locked up, and then they come back and they just kind of play completely flat, and this is what reminds me of that. So, I mean, Kurt, how do you play back from something like that?
You know, I don't know. I don't think my team particularly has the best track record of going into a close game, losing it, and then going into the game after that. So it's hard, and I guess comes down to experience. That would be my best guess, right? After a while, you learn not to like get mad at certain things happening, and you just play out the next game. But yeah, I think something that you mentioned was important was the Clockwork versus Anti-Mage matchup. The Anti-Mage was actually really smart. He got Pua 2 sets, but instead of getting a Poor Man Shield, he managed to pick up a stout shield and ring protection. The ring protection lets you get the quick tranquil boots without using a courier, and it's also, I believe, more physical damage block against the Clockwork Goblin, because what Clockwork will try to do is he'll use all his mana really quickly and then just try to man up on you. But since Anti-Mage has the pool of 2 sets and he's smart, he buys another salvo of his own, he can manage to trade those hits, equal regen, as long as he's not playing like hit Clockwork and Clockwork and 2 of his own creeps hit him.
Let me ask you, when I looked at the draft for Mineski, I actually thought they were going to aggressive tri-lane. They had a Rubik, a Leshrac, an Alchemist, or even a Gyrocopter. They could have sent the Alchemist mid or the Gyro and then thrown the other 3 into an aggressive tri-lane. Clockwork in the safe lane, pretty damn hard to tower dive and kill with Cogs. Do you think maybe they should have gone for that, or was that not an option?
I really would like to see them do some sort of dual lane.
Okay.
I'm not too sure why. This is the second time that teams have just left the Clockwork versus the Anti-Mage in the bottom lane, and I feel like
It's like, what is the Clockwork supposed to do there?
yeah, I feel like, but the thing is, Clockwork is really good against Anti-Mage if it's a 2v2 or a 2v1. He's just so good in that situation because you can mana burn him. Clockwork has a decent animation, good damage.
In a 2v1.
Yeah, in a 2v1.
Right. In a
And
1v1, it's really hard.
Like, if you put a support hero down there with the Clockwork, then it sort of forces the other team to rotate a support as well, and then you free up a lot of space. And I feel like that really needs to happen because Alchemist, okay, he has a stun, but his stun isn't that great in tri-lanes until, say, he's like level 3, maybe even until he's level 5, just because the projectile time just takes so long, plus the charging. I mean, it does charge while after it's been released into air, but sometimes it feels like, I need a stun, I need it max, I need it now.
Yeah, I mean, you would have liked. It sounds like you would have preferred to see the dual lanes. The other option I at least had in mind was to send the Alch mid.
Yeah.
Does decently against Dragon Knight, and then you could send the Gyrocopter into the tri-lane. And I feel like that's really hard for Anti-Mage because you can lift him, you follow up with a Leshrac Split Earth, and then I mean you throw a Rocket Barrage on top of that. You might not kill him, but he's not farming. And Lakel's had total free farm that game.
I actually, I thought it was going to be a Clockwork solo top, Alchemist solo mid, and aggressive try with the Garo, or sorry.
Try it again.
I had this.
You got this. I believe in you.
An Alchemist solo mid, a Clockwork aggressive, and a Gyro solo top. And then if they thought that they were going to aggressive try with the Bat Rider, then they would put the Clockwork up there. But that might just be a bias because I almost never see Bat Rider in these aggressive tri-lanes. He's a very level dependent hero.
Yeah.
And he's okay in aggressive tri-lanes, but he's so dominant 1v1 that usually you want him in that matchup.
I mean, I think that was sort of the beauty of what mith.trust did. It's not unheard of, but it's so unusual and rare to see the Bat Rider in a tri-lane that I think they really just caught Mineski by surprise with that. And sometimes that's what you need. I mean, that's something your team does a lot of, is kind of unusual, unexpected lanes. And we've seen that from teams like Rising Stars and Rattlesnakes too, doing, say, the Darkseer Clockwork dual lane. You catch your opponents off guard, suddenly you have first blood in the books, and the game could just snowball. And that was a total snowball for mith.trust. So, guys, with that being said, that's going to wrap it up for Mineski and end their International 3 ambitions. Unfortunately, the last Pinoy hope has fallen. It's a sad day for all the Filipino fans out there. Lots to Mineski, lots to the Pinoy fans. But congratulations to mith.trust, who now will move on and have one more shot to be that lone Southeast Asian representative in the next stage of the International 3 East qualifiers. Coming up next, they will be playing Rising Stars. That one's a best of 3. Rising Stars, they're rested, they're ready, they've been watching and waiting, and now they're going to try to make it a clean sweep for the Chinese teams. Can they join LGD Gaming, Vici Gaming,